Hey guys, it's Jose. Welcome back to another exciting day of distance learning with our continuous learning plan. I am so excited to be wrapping up our Unit 4. This will be our last lesson for Unit 4. And so, as a reminder, since we are wrapping up our unit, that means that our test is coming up. And as I said in yesterday's video, our test will be on Friday. So today you'll be doing some assignments for review, but then there's no class tomorrow. And then Thursday, you guys will just be reviewing and prepping for your math test. Okay? All day Friday, there will be no new assignments. It'll be catch-up day. Make sure that you guys are feeling good about the test. I will be available majority of the day for office hours, so please come and check in with me if you have any questions. And so now let's go ahead and jump into our math lesson for today. All right? To help us warm up for our lesson today, we're going to do some mental math. Okay? So for mental math today, I want you to start with the product of 3 times 3. So you're going to start with the product of 3 times 3. Okay? So what's the answer to that? All right? Good. Let's go ahead and move on to our next one. Our next step is I want you to add the number of months in a year. So we're doing months in a year. How many months are there? I want you to add that to that first number. Okay? Good. Now I want you to add 9. You're going to add 9. Okay? Good. Now I want you to subtract 23. You're going to subtract 23. All right, let's hit that pause button if we're not ready because the answer is coming at ya. The answer for today's mental math is 7. Great job. All right, so this morning I emailed you 2 things, and you're going to need them right now for this lesson. So one of the things that I had emailed you this morning was a slideshow with vocabulary words, okay? And I also asked that you had taken those notes in your handbooks, okay? So I needed you to create 1 page of vocabulary words for data analysis, okay? If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and take the time to do that now, okay? So as I said in the email, I want you to label your page data analysis vocabulary. And then I want you to copy down each one of the vocabulary words and the definition only. No need to copy down the examples unless you need them for reference, okay? And the other thing that you need for us to do our lesson today is the flyer with Mrs. Wu's class data on there. We're going to be looking at that data information today as well. So I want you to go ahead and make sure that you have your vocab words copied down and that you have a copy of Mrs. Wu's class data on their arm spans as well, okay? And then on top of that, let's go ahead and grab our student books, our home connections books, and of course you're gonna need your notebook and a writing utensil, all right? Let's get to it. Let's grab all that stuff. Make sure that you hit pause if you need some extra time, okay? Go. All right, so let's start off by looking at the document that said Mrs. Wu's class arm span, okay? And we had 3 different data analysis charts that we could see. The first one was a table, okay? And we've created tables ourselves. We created it yesterday in our student books when we were collecting data. We had written somebody's name and then either their hand span or their arm span, okay? The other thing there is a bar graph, all right? And bar graphs use bars connected to a person to show the measurement of their arm span. Okay? And the third one down below is our line plot. So that kind of looks like a little number line. It has digits. It has little X marks above the digits. And those little X marks above the digits tell you that was a person's data. Okay? So if you're looking at it right now, there's a couple of plot points above some numbers. Some of them have more than one X. Some of them only have one X. I want you to compare by looking at all three. I want you to compare the information and see if you can make those connections. Is the same information on all three of these charts? Okay? And now while you're looking at that information, I want you to think, what are some of the pros and cons of using each one of these data analysis graphs? Okay? What's really good about seeing everything on a bar graph? What's something bad about it? What's something good about looking at a table? Okay? And what's good about a line plot? Okay? So I want you to pause the video and take some time to really think what's really good here and what's not so great. Okay? About all three. All right? Let's see if we can connect that information. All right? Go. All right. So we're going to now discuss the arm spans in Miss Wu's class. So I want you to make sure that you guys have your notes with you because we're going to be talking about some of the vocabulary that I had you record in your handbooks. And I'm going to keep this graphic up here as we talk. Okay? So what I really want to focus on is the line plot down at the bottom. Okay? You'll notice that, as I said earlier, it does look like a number line. Okay? But this number line has X's at the top. And hopefully in the time that you took to connect all this information, you would have noticed that the same data points can also be seen on the table and on the bar graph. Okay? For example, Anthony, the first student there, had an arm span of 58. Okay? And we saw that Anthony also had a bar graph there. And if we analyze the bar graph, it was higher than 50, but lower than 60. So we could have assumed that that was 58. Okay? And so some of the pros and cons is that the tables seem a little boring, right? It's just very clear-cut information. It looks like it's organized by name, but not by arm span. The bar graph doesn't give us exact measurements. And so with bar graphs that are pretty similar in information, for example, all of the arm spans are above 50 inches and range up to 62. And so the line plot really does give us the best information in terms of just data. We don't really need to know the kids' names, for example, and we have exact numbers on the line plot. So this is really going to be where we're going to focus today, okay? All right, so I've zoomed in the page just a little bit to really get your focus on this line plot. And we're going to discuss a little bit about some of the information that we can find on our line plot, okay? It would also be helpful if you had your vocabulary, your list of vocabulary words for data analysis in front of you so that when I throw out a term, you're a little familiar with it, okay? So, looking at the line plot, what is our maximum value on this line plot? Okay, looking at the line plot, what is the maximum value? If you said 62, which can be found on the far right, you would be correct, okay? Now let's go the opposite direction. That's a big hint. What is the minimum value on our line plot? Okay? If you said 50, that would be correct. Okay? Now, what would be the range? Now that we know the maximum and the minimum values on our data set, what would be the range? If you need to look at your definition for range, what would be the range of our line plot? So again, remember, the range would be the difference between the maximum and the minimum. So difference means subtraction. If we subtract 50 from 62, we would get a total of 12, and that would be our range. Okay? And what is the mode? Okay? look at your definition of what mode is. If you're looking at your definition and you're looking at the line plot, you would know that your mode would be 53 because 53 is the value that shows up most often on our line plot. Okay? Next up, I want to talk about median. Okay? And to do that, I'm going to work on the whiteboard with you guys. All right? All right, so to find the median, we need to do a little bit more work. Okay? We are still looking at our copy of Mrs. Wu's, the Armspan and Mrs. Wu's class. Okay? We're still looking at this. We're still looking at the line plot. Okay? We're still looking at that. So by looking at the line plot, what I need to do to find my median is that I need to write down all of the arm spans in numerical order from smallest to biggest. Good thing for us is that the line plot has already done that for us. Okay? The other thing I need to do is that I need to put down, every time there's an X above the value, I need to make sure that I add that number that many times. Let me show you. So, to find the median, and if you need to take notes on this, I would recommend that you do it in your notebook, okay? And if you want to keep this organized and keep it with your handbook underneath the definition of median, you're more than welcome to do that, however you feel comfortable being organized, okay? So, to do the median, I'm going to place all of these X's in order here. So for example, my first X is under 50. So I'm going to write down the number 50, followed by the number 51, then 52. Okay? And then for 53, I have 4 X's above the number 53. So that means I'm going to write the number 53 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And as we said, this is our mode. This is the number that's shown up most often in our data set. Okay? And then I'm going to just go ahead and continue. There's nothing about 54, so I'm going to skip 54. And then I'm going to write 55. Okay? And then I'm going to start a second column over here. If you have room on your page to continue the list down, go ahead and do that. Okay? So 56 was my next one, followed by 57. Now there are 2 X's over 58, so I'm going to write the number 58 twice. Okay? Followed by 59, 60, and then 62. Okay? So now to find my median, I need to find the number that is right in the middle of my list. So to do that, you can do it however you'd like, but I'm going to show you this quick trick that I like using. Okay? I like to start on either ends of my list and just start crossing them out so I get to my middle. Okay? You can also just count, but sometimes I get distracted and I lose count. I lose track of those. So I'll do my first one at the end, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one, seventh one, until I have one number left. And so by doing that, I figured out that my median for this data set is 55. Okay? Not all data sets will be this long. Some of them you might only see 5 numbers, 6 numbers, and so it might be a little bit easier. But when you have a larger set, you're going to have to write them down in numerical order and then find the value that's in the middle of your list. Okay? And so that is how we find our median. So now it's your turn to practice some of these skills that we did today. There are 2 pages in your student books I want you to complete today. Okay? And so that is page 161 and page 162 in your student book. So 2 pages there. And they'll be asking you very similar questions. They'll give you line plots and they'll ask you to identify things like the maximum, the minimum, the range, the median, and the mode. So I would suggest that you keep your handy dandy notebooks around so that you can look at your notes and look at the vocabulary there. This might be really new to some of you. And so go ahead and complete those 2 pages. After you have done that, I want you to complete pages 87 and 88 in your home connections, okay? And so this is going to also serve as review. This is part 2 of your review for your test on Friday, all right? Folks, I had such a great time making these videos for this unit. So much fun. Our next unit is going to be on geometry, which I absolutely love. So I look forward to making those videos for you guys. And as always, you can catch me on Zoom or via email if you have any questions, okay? Good luck on your test on Friday. I know you guys are going to rock it. All right, great job today. Have a good one. Bye.